The movie Adipurush is receiving a lot of attention and criticism around the world, but the reason why many foreigners are criticizing the movie is probably more shocking or strange than the movie itself. So, the film received a lot of attention because of a line that calls Janki India's daughter. The film also received a lot of criticism because of the dialogues that, according to many, have hurt their feelings. However, the man behind these dialogues has already released a statement, tweeting that the dialogues that are hurting people's feelings will be changed. Besides that, there is also a lot of criticism for the VFX shots, but then there are many fans in India and elsewhere who are praising the movie. Interestingly, it was reported that when it comes to the North American market, the film's numbers are decent but not outstanding. The Washington Post published these numbers regarding the estimated ticket sales, and as you can see, Adipurush was in the 10th position. On the other hand, as expected, many in the West or the Western media seem to be brainwashing people by making them feel that it is bad or dangerous that movies that revolve around Hindus or Hinduism are being made and are becoming popular in India. Particularly in the USA, many who like to describe themselves as liberals and are proud of the so-called American values are often very critical of the so-called revival of Hinduism in India. So I want to ask these people, is the revival of a country's native, pre-Christian, pre-colonial, pre-Islamic or indigenous cultures a bad thing? Is rejecting the invasive or global conquest-seeking religions and standing up for one's cultural and religious self-determination a bad thing? Well, as far as the so-called American values are concerned, a country whose foundation is rooted in the cultural genocide of indigenous traditions and the replacement of native cultures with an invasive religion, how can that country or its so-called values truly protect or revive native or indigenous cultures? Maybe their pseudo-liberalism allows for destroying or replacing the diverse native cultures with a global conquest-seeking monotheistic religion, something that they achieved successfully in their country and now seek to achieve elsewhere. But if these people really want to be liberal in a true sense, then instead of criticizing Hindus for resisting and protecting their civilizational heritage, which, by the way, is also our global civilizational heritage, they should criticize or oppose Americans who are working on the radical task of total evangelization of the world with India as one of their primary targets. After all, why shouldn't Hindus take pride in their accommodating and naturally diverse culture, and why shouldn't Hindus enjoy films that remind them of their glory or their resistance against the foreign invasive religions? If your so-called American values allow you to build the Museum of the Bible on stolen land, celebrating the invasive religion that Christianized, genocided, or replaced the indigenous cultures, then why can't the people of the land of Ram and Krishna take pride in their country's own indigenous roots or dharmic cultures? And let's not forget, the Museum of the Bible was opened in 2017. It is situated in the heart of the USA, strategically located a walking distance from the United States Capitol building. And of course, it is proudly promoting the so-called transformative power of the Bible. And as far as movies are concerned, how about the movie The Passion of the Christ, that hurt the sentiments of many Jews but became a blockbuster in America and was even seen as a tool to proselytize or convert non-Christians to Christianity? Did that hurt the American values or not? As you can read here, the producer of the film, Mel Gibson, said, "I hope the film has the power to evangelize." And as reported, he told screeners in churches that on the movie set he witnessed agnostics and Muslims converting to Christianity. Yes, you heard that right, Muslims converting to Christianity. Or how about another film, Jesus, that has been openly described as a conversion tool and has been translated into more than 800 languages and shown in hundreds of countries. So basically, it seems that you can make movies to celebrate the religion that is known for its genocidal colonial conquest over the indigenous tribes and cultures. You can even make movies that are used as a conversion tool by Christians globally. But then, on the other hand, Hindus can't even make movies to celebrate or remember their native cultures. American pseudo-liberals, come out of your cultural genocide-friendly bubble and try to see the world with fine-tuned senses. In your country, producing Bible-themed films seems pretty normal, right? Let me give you some examples. Son of God, Noah, Exodus, Gods and Kings. I mean, these movies were released in just a single year during the term of your so-called liberal president Obama. But of course, Democrats or Republicans, regardless of who is in power, Christian nationalism is just a way of life in the USA, right? Besides that, there's also a sophisticated and cunning Christian machinery that has successfully and deceitfully worked on the Christianization of Hollywood. For instance, consider this. Movie Guide Awards have a clear mission. Read this here. According to biblical principles, influencing industry executives and artists. They advise major movie studios in Hollywood on how their movies can become more Christian-friendly. And see what they openly declare on their website. Christian content has more than quadrupled in movies thanks to their efforts. American studio liberals, answer me. Why is it that a project with a radical task of the total evangelization of the world is still being openly pursued? Haven't you heard of the Joshua Project? Don't you know about their mission? Do you even care to know who their potential targets are? Tribal communities, indigenous communities, native communities all around the world, including in India. Yes, the same colorful and diverse communities, many of whom have Ramayana deeply ingrained in their culture and traditions. Yes, I'm talking about the ancient tribal populations known from the Ramayana, one of the great epics of India. Please learn that the Bhil, Kol and Gond are three major Indian tribes that have been widely acknowledged in the epic Ramayana. Learn about the presence of Ramkatha in tribal and folk traditions of India. Learn about Ramkatha traditions in the northeastern region of India. Ramkatha tradition in Assam. Ramkatha tradition in Manipur. And here it is Arunachal Pradesh. Then Ramkatha-based folk belief and practices in Meghalaya. Then Mizoram, where Ramkatha basically finds place in folk tradition, especially in folk tales, folk beliefs and proverbs. Then Tripura, which shows acquaintance with the Ramkatha from ancient times. According to Ankita Datta, who is a fellow with ORF Strategic Studies Program, Ramayana has always been an integral and inseparable part of the social and cultural lives of the people of the Northeast. It is very unfortunate that these traditions are today almost extinct, especially in the predominantly Christian states of Nagaland, Mizoram and Meghalaya. The current generation has no idea whatsoever of this rich civilizational legacy, which their ancestors had struggled hard to protect from the Islamic invaders and later from the aggressive proselytization of the church during the British period. So the bottom line is this. American pseudo-liberals, you can't claim to be a genuine well-wisher of the native populations and the indigenous cultures in your country or elsewhere, as long as you willfully ignore the ongoing destruction of the remaining indigenous cultures and traditions of the world by Americans and others outside the USA. So yes, in a way, the celebration of Ram and Ramayana in cinema or elsewhere is a living tribute to the ancient cultural legacy of the ancient populations of India and is a great symbol of resistance against those who are seeking global conquest. See you again.